Um, you just want to be mindful of that decompression period, that adjustment period. I tend to use baby gates. I like my foster to know that that dog has a safe area in my home where if they wanted to be left alone, they could, so that my dogs don't interfere or invade on their personal space too quickly. And so normally when I bring a dog home, I do a pack walk around the neighborhood, and allow them to become grounded on their geographic location where they've arrived and where they're now going to live for a temporary period of time. And then when we get into the house, I will gauge their behavior. If they feel comfortable and I feel like I can introduce them to my dogs one by one, then I will do that. Otherwise, I'll wait. And I'll show them their safe area that's baby gated off with their crate and their bed and their food and water bowls and maybe some toys. And that's all separate from my dogs. You want to definitely keep toys and bones and food away from your own animals, especially in the beginning with your foster. You want to keep them, feed them separately, and just be very mindful that some of these dogs have never had a dog bone or a ball to play with. And so there is that potential that they may want to hoard their toys when they first come to your home, and they have to learn to share. And so that's a process that you may need to work with them with on. But usually once you teach them that it's, that everything belongs to you, and that you can give them their ball and their bone when you choose to, and you can take it away when you choose to, then they become more respectful with that, with those boundaries and those rules. So you have to establish the rules of your home slowly as the dog gets acquainted with you and the family. But in terms of introducing them to your other canines or cats in the house, you want to take it slowly. The slower you do this, the better. And the dog can then really get to know your pack and settle in. If you have any issues with introductions or you need tips on how to do it properly, then email the behavioral team and then they can walk you through what the best course of action would be to introduce the foster to your other animals or your cats or your rabbits or your children. We do recommend that when you cannot supervise your foster dog, that you crate them or put them in their safe area gated off from the rest of the family. And especially with children, you always want to supervise them with children. Okay, so these are all things that we sort of go into in the manual. The term of fostering, we don't really know. I mean, every single dog is different. It depends on their size, their age, their temperament, whether they get along with other dogs, cats, kids, all kinds of people. So you can expect, at least a month for most dogs, especially since the adoption process with Paws New England is based on a best match, so not based on first come first serve. So we're really looking to find good homes that are appropriate, very specifically appropriate for that dog. And so that takes a little longer sometimes. So when you're getting applications, even though you're getting two or three applications, they may not be the right fit, and so you still have to hold out until the appropriate application comes along, and that could take some time. And so we don't want to rush a dog out of their foster home. We want to give them ample time to find the right forever home. And so if there is a conflict that you cannot keep your foster dog longer than a certain amount of time, you need to let us know that in advance if you can. Otherwise, if it's like an issue that arises and you just can't simply keep them for that term, then let us know and we'll try to move them as soon as possible to another foster home. For instance, if you have an upcoming vacation or if there's like a family emergency and you need them moved, you can let us know and we'll definitely work with you to make that happen. But ultimately, the foster is considered your responsibility. So sometimes when people go on vacation, they may want to take their foster with them, and you can totally do that. You can also have a dog sitter come to the house and watch your dogs and the foster dog. As long as Paws New England knows who is responsible for that dog at any given time, we're okay with that. You essentially treat your foster as if it were your own dog, and so and we rely on you to sort of keep us informed on if there's conflicts with your schedule or we need to get involved. Otherwise, we're assuming you're going to handle it and get a babysitter or, um, you know, have a plan for your foster's care while you're away for the weekend, for instance. So, once the dog arrives and you've gone through the paperwork and you're letting them decompress, it's all about getting them adopted. So, as a foster, you are required, responsible to assist in getting that dog adopted. Paws New England is going to promote them on our website and on Facebook, but we can't do it without good photos from you, and we can't do it without a bio from you. And so, if your dog is already on our website, we expect you to update that bio within a week or two of them arriving into your home. If they're not on the website yet, if it's a fresh rescue and they haven't even been listed yet, then we expect you to know that and to contact us and remind us, hey, this dog needs to be listed on our website. It's hard for us to consistently track when bios are updated because we have so many dogs. So we rely on the foster to update us. And then basically it's just emailing Alicia Huckabee with the bio and some photos, and she gets that uploaded within 24 hours. So there's a whole section here on promoting your foster dog that you should read through. Facebook to communicate, I'm going to get into that. ID tags, preventatives, we kind of already went over this. Dog parks, use your discretion. Some dogs are not good candidates for dog parks or doggy daycare. So both are good options if your foster is okay with those environments and you are in control and you have a good sense of management over that foster dog if they're in those environments. But otherwise, I would not recommend it. If your dog is lost or stolen, you need to call us right away. We have steps in place to retrieve the dog as quickly as possible. A lot of times people try to do it on their own and they actually make the situation much worse. So please call us if anything should happen. And there's guidelines here. Behavioral issues, you want to contact Paws New England as soon as something is amiss with a behavior that you don't have control over, then you need to contact us. We want to be involved and know what's going on, because ultimately a behavioral issue that goes unchecked or unmanaged will become an issue when you're trying to get that dog adopted. Veterinary and preventative care, as I said, most of you may not need to go to the vet with your foster dog, but if something develops on the dog, yes, you need to go to the vet. You need to book a vet appointment. All rescue dogs need to go to a Paws New England vet, and sometimes they're further away from you than your own vet. And so that's why you have to contact Jen Johannesson, let her know where you live, and then she will try to find a vet as close to you as possible so that you can go ahead and book that appointment. When you go to a vet appointment with Paws New England and they're a Paws New England vet, they charge us directly, so there's no need for you to pay for it in advance or get reimbursed, none of that. Just remember that when you go to the vet, to get a copy of that paperwork and then send that to the records email at Paws New England so that we have an up-to-date record of that visit. That's again the foster's responsibility to update us on with any paperwork that's generated while that foster dog is with you. Okay. A lot of this we've just kind of went over. All right, so the adoption process. Every single dog is assigned an adoption coordinator, and you will likely know who that is before an application even comes in. But you will definitely know who that is when an application comes in because they will be emailing you. The coordinator is going to email you the application and ask you what you think of it, face value on paper. You look it over, and if you think it's a good potential fit, then we expect you to call the applicant on the phone and discuss the dog with them. And basically, it's just a casual conversation. Hi, I'm fostering so-and-so. You applied, what kind of dog are you looking for? Why did you apply for this dog? Let's just make sure that we're going to make a good match for you and for the dog. You have a casual conversation with them. If you think it's a go, then you tell your coordinator, and the coordinator will then process the application. And when she processes the application, she's going to do an interview and vet reference checks and personal reference checks and home checks. And she's going to thoroughly go through that application and then send it back to you several days later with all her notes. And so at this point, you get a really good idea of who these people are because you've talked to them, the coordinator has talked to them, she's checked them out. And as long as there are no red flags that need to be addressed, then you can move on to the last step of the adoption process, which is the